Today's lesson is going to be about how to send a list email. So within Pardot, there's three items you need to look at in order to send a list email. So first of all, a definition of a list email is a one-time mass blast through the Pardot system, often called campaigns in other systems, but we call them list emails here in Pardot. And so to send a list email, you have to have a list that you're going to send to. Those are the prospects. You need an email template, which is going to be the copy and the creative that you're sending. And then the list email is the actual action of sending. So first, let's make sure we have a list to send from here. So I'm going to just go with my monthly newsletter list, and we're going to talk about importing in another section. We're going to need an email template. So let's start with an email template from scratch. Sample one. And I'm going to put everything in my 2020 folder. And I'm going to choose a campaign. Say we're promoting a webinar. Okay. And the tracker domain should be in here by default. We're not going to talk about that today. And then you get to choose what you want this template to be used for. So one-to-one emails means that sales can use it from Salesforce. When you send Pardot email from Salesforce, salespeople can actually log in to Pardot and send a one-to-one email. An auto reply is pretty self-explanatory. That's for forms, etc. List emails is what we're talking about today. And then engagement programs would be your nurture emails. So I'm just going to leave that in there in case I decide to run a nurture program around this. Okay, to note here, there's a lot of layouts in the system already. Pardot's been around for a long time, but when they first started, they didn't have responsive layouts. So the responsive ones all start with the word responsive. So we're just going to start with a very basic one. I'm going to call it responsive image basic. I will apply that layout to the template I'm working on. And then here is my editor. If you've used any email marketing before, this is pretty user-friendly. This is where you would change out the image. You would add it here. Your copy, if you want to change the words, you put it here. And it works a little bit like, Microsoft Word. You can change the font, the size, etc. So you'll get some experience working on that and tweaking it. A couple of requirements: you always must have an unsubscribe or a subscription preference link in the system in your emails. Otherwise, the system will not save it. Since I'm using a layout that's in the system, it has that in there already. Text version. This is the version that email technology will see. And also when your email is sitting in a spam folder, this would be the preview, or maybe on your phone, you just see the preview text before everything is downloaded. So this has to be filled in as well and is required. So the system won't let you save the email, will give you a warning. So how you just fill this in is you just hit this button, sync from HTML, and all the data will come over. And then you can decide to clean this up if you like or not. So if you do all this, just keep in mind, if you spend all this time cleaning it up, and then you make some edits and you sync from HTML, it's going to go all in array again. One more time, okay? And then if you want to see what it's going to look like, you can preview here, and then you can preview as a prospect. So if you're using any variable tags, I'm not, but their name would just be populated in here. So you're like, okay, yeah, the variable tags actually work. Sometimes that makes people nervous. And then if you're a little bit more advanced and you want to edit this, you can go in here to the HTML code to make your edits, okay? And here's where you have the subject line. And then if you go, oh shoot, I don't want to call it the sample one. How do I change that? Where do I edit that? Go into the basic info. This is where you change the name, maybe the folder, the campaign, and the usage is all in the basic template information. So cancel over that. And then the sending here, you have to have something by default. And the main reason, if you decide to use this for Engagement Studio, you don't pick who you're sending from when you're in the Engagement Studio. It's going to take the information from the template. So our choices here are general user, and this I can put any name I want. I could put CEO of the company, and then I could do info at, and it doesn't have to be anyone that's in the system currently. It can be any email actually, but you're not going to have success unless it's with the right domain. You can pick a specific user in the system, or you can pick an assigned user or an account owner. Now, these are affiliated with Salesforce. So assigned user is the assigned user to a contact or a lead in the system, where account owner is the owner of the company or the accounts that contacts and leads are affiliated with. So actually only contacts are affiliated with accounts. So once you convert a lead to a contact, there'll be an account or a company associated with that. But note, if you do try to choose one of these and save it, it's going to ask you for a backup plan. You said, well, what if there's no assigned user? I need a backup plan. So you can hit this plus and say, okay, well, if there's no assigned user, then send it from Carol. Okay, and then here's another place for the subject line. Okay, so once you do all that, we will hit publish to template. Okay, so that's part one. And then part two is now I want to send the email. So go new list email, and I'm going to go sample one. I like to have my templates and my list email with the same name, so I know that they're aligned. And then again, I'm going to put everything in my 2020 folder, and I'm going to choose the campaign, webinars, and I'm not going to do any A/B testing. That'll be another lesson. Then here, I'm going to take this sample, apply it, and then here it is. So everything that I did in that other one will now be in the sending area. Okay, so the assigned user will be the same that I set it up. And these look, a list email and a list template look almost identical, as you'll see. The text is in there. It works the same, has the same headers. So the main difference is this sending area. So this is where I choose what list I want to send to. I could create a suppression list. And one thing to know that surprises a lot of people I train is that once you send an email through the system and that person bounces or they opt out, you don't have to worry about a suppression list of all my opt-outs. Pardot will never send to anyone again once they've opted out or have hard bounce. So that will happen automatically. And for example, here it might have newsletter 1,000 and then total mailable will be 950. That means 50 people are not mailable. So that's a nice way for you to check that, oh, it's not going to send to those people. Okay, and then you can decide to change this, like, oh, I don't like this. I just want everyone coming from, assigned user or from specific user, etc. Okay, and then here's the other difference. So the two differences again in list emails, they look like templates, but here's where you choose the list you want to work from. And then you can set up your completion actions. So a lot of work I do is helping people with campaign influence. So often we would do that. I do not advise any campaign influence for opens, but if someone clicks, and if they click on a specific link in there, so say there's 5 different links, but the one is really a clear call to action, then you say if someone clicks on the, contact me now or download now, let's do something about that. We can either create a Salesforce task, and we can put the subject in there, assigned to the CRM owner. We can put the comment, this person clicked the link, whatever you like. You can assign to a user. Maybe you want to assign to a different user. You can add to CRM campaign. This is a very popular one. So add to the CRM campaign called LinkedIn with responded. Okay. So typically responded be the campaign member status you would use almost all the time. And that would be another lesson on really trying to understand campaigns, Pardot campaign, Salesforce campaign, connected campaigns, and campaign influence, okay? And then we have the option we can send now. I'm not going to do that. Or we can schedule, okay? So we can schedule for, this Friday. We schedule, are you sure? Yes. And now we can see emails scheduled. We'll see that is in here right now. All right, it's down here in a draft. This is a demo site, so it might not actually let us do that. So email drafts, email template drafts. Not sure what happened to that, but it would show up in my scheduled emails right here normally. Okay, so that is how you send an email, and I'd be happy to talk with you about your specific use case. Thank you.